Hello everybody, my name is Alth. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for clicking on the video. I really do appreciate it, even if it was by mistake. In this video, we are going to be getting into Dragon Dogma II, the Trickster Vocation breakdown by IGN first. This is something that IGN has been doing for the month of January, where they kind of doing a bit of a deep dive into Dragon Dogma II, and while typically I just really wanted to cover um, trailer reactions on this channel, I found this to be interesting because it says in the description that it is the most unique classes ever seen in an open action RPG. So I felt like, you know what, we're gonna dive right into this. If you wanted to check things more out, go check IGN. I mean, they just did something on character creation, how in depth it is, and stuff like that. I'm probably not going to do a video on that. But let's get into this apparently most unique play style, classes, vocation, whatever. All right.
Dragon's Dogma II offers a wide variety of playstyles depending on what vocation you select. Most of these are the kinds of archetypes that you'd expect: melee sword fighter, speedy dagger wielding thief, ranged archer, and spell slinging mage. And some are hybrid vocations like Mystic Spearhand and Magic Archer that combine elements of one vocation with another for a completely new style of play. But what of the Trickster vocation? It was revealed as part of the Dragon's Dogma II showcase back in November, but little has been shown of this unique class beyond that quick 45-second look and a short description on the Dragon's Dogma II website. Fortunately, as part of our visit to Capcom, we got to sit down and play with the Trickster for about an hour, and I can confidently say that this is a style of gameplay unlike anything I've ever seen in an open-world action game. To start, the Trickster is essentially a pacifist. Their chosen weapon, a ceremonial censer, does little to no damage when it's swung at an enemy. Instead, the purpose of attacking is to build up aggro and pull an enemy's attention towards you. To that end, you also have a special ability called Suffocating Shroud that sends out your smoke in a wide area and draws a large amount of enemy attention towards you. So, the question is, why would you want to get a whole group of enemies swarming on you if you can't actually damage them? See, that's where the word Trickster comes into play. By using the Trickster's unique skill, Ephegeal Incense, you create a simulacrum, or a clone for simplicity's sake, that enemies will perceive as the real you. This clone has its own health bar and will disappear if it's killed, but you can also teleport the clone to you while it's still alive with the press of a button. This way, you can basically kite enemies to wherever you want as long as you keep their aggro and keep your clone alive. So, you can maneuver a foe to get an environmental advantage, which is super important because the Trickster shines the brightest when there are cliffs, uneven surfaces, or other elements of the environment that can be used to your advantage. The Trickster has two abilities designed around creating surfaces that aren't really there, but appear real to enemies. The first, Tricky Terrace, creates a cloud that can be placed off a ledge that the enemy will perceive as real solid ground, and the second, Elusive Divider, will create a wall of smoke that you can see through, but the enemy cannot. The final piece of this puzzle is the Visitant Aura, a technique that essentially allows you to make an astral projection that you can freely move around to scout the landscape for as long as your stamina will allow. You're super vulnerable while controlling the projection, so using Elusive Divider to give yourself some cover while using it in the heat of battle is a good idea. Crucially, you can float off ledges, ascend or descend at will, and even call your clone to wherever your projection currently is. I'm sure you can probably see why that might be useful. When you combine all of these tricks together, the real value of the Trickster comes into view. Before getting into a combat encounter, you can create a clone with Ephegeal Incense, use Visitant Aura to scout out an area for enemies and look for any sort of environmental hazards, like a cliff for instance, recall your clone so that it hovers over said environmental hazard, place a false floor underneath it with Tricky Terrace, then lure enemies close to the clone and use Suffocating Shroud to send all their aggro towards the clone, and then watch with glee as enemies throw themselves off the ledge in an effort to get at you.
Wait, are you serious? Okay, that's interesting. That's That's an interesting play style for sure. Probably wouldn't work in Elder Scrolls Online if they did something similar. NPCs don't take fall damage, but okay, let's see what else they say.
Now, obviously, this is a lot of prep to go through, and it isn't going to be practical in every single situation, which is why the Trickster is also equipped with some other tricks up their sleeves. First and foremost, they are a support class, relying on and substantially buffing the strength of their pawn party so that they can do most of the heavy lifting. One such buff is Aromatic Resurgence, which supercharges your party, making them hit a lot harder. While I was playing for gameplay capture reasons, I had to make a mental note not to use this buff because my pawns would kill all of my foes before I got a chance to show off any of the more technical tricks of the Vocation. The most powerful spell I saw of the Tricksters was Dragon's Delusion, which takes some time to cast, but brings forth an illusion of a dragon that terrifies any enemy that sees it, even large ogres, bringing them down to their knees, giving your pawns ample opportunity to do big damage. Since most of the Trickster's other skills seemed well suited for dealing with small to mid-sized enemies, this was a really nice addition to see as something that can also let them deal with the bigger and badder enemies. The Trickster was not an easy vocation to figure out in just an hour's time. It took me a little while to fully grasp the aggro system, avoiding pulling too much aggro and not having a way to get away from the enemies I just attracted, but once it clicked, I found it to be a uniquely satisfying vocation that brought to mind one of the core tenets of Devil May Cry's combat. It's not just about killing every enemy in the room, but how you kill every enemy in the room. It's an intentionally underpowered vocation that's designed to encourage creative thinking to solve difficult combat problems in ways beyond just swinging a weapon or hurling a tornado at it. And it's one that I'm very excited to experiment more with once I've got my hands on the full game.
That's very interesting. Um, it's a very interesting playstyle. It's definitely an interesting class. For those curious of what a pawn is, it seems to be, if you play Elder Scrolls Online, it seems to be a companion. Like Dragon Age, it's the people that you choose to go with you, basically. That is definitely an interesting playstyle. I don't know if it's really for me. I mean, it's interesting in the fact that you can throw enemies off of off a cliff, and you can summon a dragon to scare the living bejesus out of people. That's interesting. Let's see if I find that dragon one. That is just so everything is
Some time to cast, but brings forth an illusion
look at
of a
that.
dragon that terrifies.
Yeah, so everything's kind of done like illusion magic basically if you play Elder Scrolls. That's interesting. This also kind of showcases a little bit more about the game that I wasn't really aware of, used to, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. Like I said, it's a very interesting playstyle. Purely passive, which is different. Definitely different. So I mean, there looks to be absolutely no damaging features of this class. Let's even go back because he said that there was. Didn't he say that there was like wording on it or whatever?
Vocation with another for a completely new style of play. But what of the Trickster Vocation? It was revealed as part of the Dragon's Dogma II showcase back in November, but little has been shown of this unique class beyond that quick 45-second look and a short description.
Okay, here we go. A vocation exclusive to the Arisen. Arisen is you, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Trickster can conjure illusions through the smoke created by its unique weapon, the Censer. Tricksters can use illusion to deceive enemies into fighting against their own. They also have the ability to temporarily increase the power of pawns beyond their limits. This is why I always kind of liked illusion magic in Elder Scrolls and like alteration magic and stuff. You basically let people you let your followers or your enemies kind of do the work for you. So if you enjoy, I guess if you enjoyed a playthrough of strictly illusion magic and something like Elder Scrolls where you don't really kill anything yourself, your follower does, or whatever. Or I mean, I've played this kind of style in Dragon Age a little bit, where I let the three followers do the work for me, and I just kind of healed them and buffed them, and it was such a different playstyle, and I kind of liked it. But I don't know. This is definitely different. Definitely different. This game is definitely increasing in interest for me. The character creation is absolutely insane. It looks like I need a little bit more information on the other people that you're with. Is it like an MMO where you're with other people? Is it you run into people? You run into NPCs, kind of like a Dragon Age or a Mass Effect or something. I doubt anyone in the game is named. What is that person's name? Ninja or whatever. I don't know who else he was with, but anyway, not important. So I don't know. I love this aspect though, where you can like put a cloud out and the NPCs just fall to their death. That's hilarious. That is unique, and also it could be very fun. Can you imagine this class in Elder Scrolls Online and like on a keep or something, or in PvP? Oh my god, the nerf threads I can only imagine now. Like, oh lord. But I mean, if you know a little bit more about this game than me, like, is it like an MMO where you're with other players? It seems to be that this is the pawn. And is this another player? Is it an NPC that's joining his party? I don't know. I think that'd be cool to know. It's an interesting playstyle, and if I do decide to buy this game, I'll probably try it out. You know, I'm not against challenges and complex things. What do you guys think? Do you like this style? Does this get you a little bit more interested in the game, knowing that this different playstyle is kind of out there? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I always appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and you want to see more. If you don't want to, though, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm not going to hold it against you or anything like that. You're free to do whatever you want, as long as it's legal. So, anyway, thank you. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.